And just like that, the Baltimore Ravens 2025 season comes to an end. As we, in Week 18, have a chance to go out there and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, win the AFC North, get the 4 seed, host a home playoff game, and poof, it's all gone. As the Pittsburgh Steelers go out there and get the job done, 26-24, comes down to the rookie kicker, Tyler Loop, from 44 yards out, pushing the football wide right, and the kick is no good. We got a lot to discuss in this video, man. I'm going to recap this game, give my thoughts, break down everything, what I saw in this game, and then just really discuss my overall disappointment with the Baltimore Ravens and really what I think needs to change and where we go from here moving forward. Should Harbaugh stick around? Should we move on from Harbaugh? I'm going to give all of my thoughts in this very video. Like I said, just please bear with me. I'm going to be all over the place, man. Like, this was out of all of the Ravens' losses. I know there's been some bad ones, believe me, and I know recency bias is obviously a thing here. This has got to be one of the most crushing losses in the history of the franchise, man. I know we've had some bad ones. The Billy Cundiff missed field goals in the postseason and in the championship games, and I understand all of that. But the way that this season was just such a roller coaster ride, and the fact that we even had a chance to make it into the postseason, to me was remarkable. Remarkable. You know, we finished the year 8-9. We come into this game kind of, I don't want to say limping in, right? It's the healthiest Lamar Jackson has been in a while, for most of the season at least, right? Gets a full week of practice. Hasn't had that in 2 months. We get a full week of practice, Lamar Jackson. QB1 is back in the lineup. One of the best quarterbacks in the entire league, man. A generational talent at the position. Our guy, our leader. We have him back in the lineup. And we're coming off of a week of where Snoop Huntley, our other guy, goes out there and manages the football game, makes some plays with his legs. Derrick Henry goes off, runs for over 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. We stomp the Green Bay Packers and put up over 40 points with no Lamar Jackson. We took care of business. We kept our hopes alive. And then the Cleveland Browns go out there and help us out by beating the Steelers 13-6, and where the Steelers offense was showing without DK Metcalf that they're not the same. They're not the same, and it left the door open for a huge Week 18 showdown. Ravens Steelers, just how everybody scripted it up, man. Big rivalry game. We know that these games come down to the wire, and as an overall football fan, it doesn't get much better than Ravens Steelers. But as a Ravens fan, it sucks. It's hard to enjoy these games because it's just these huge pendulum shifts, man, where the Steelers look like they're going to run away with it, and then it shifts to the Ravens, and it looks like the Ravens are going to run away with it, and it's just back and forth, and it seemingly always comes down to what? One final possession, one last-second score, one last-second field goal, one last-second turnover that ultimately determines who wins. That's it. It was no different here in Week 18, man. And credit to the Steelers. They went out there and got the job done. But at the end of the day, this to me was a choke job by the Baltimore Ravens. It was, man. And it pains me, but we can't hide and pretend, guys. Like, people are going to hide and pretend and try to cope, and this was a choke job by the Baltimore Ravens. It was. I understand that Tyler Loop is a rookie kicker, man. He hasn't missed a field goal all year under 50 yards. And I'm like, that's just how it goes, isn't it? Basically automatic from inside 50. And we push it wide right and we miss, and it's over. But for an offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers, that I understand the Cleveland Browns have an outstanding defense. I think they have a Super Bowl caliber defense. But for them to be out there for so much time in that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, to only hold them to 6 points, I'm like, listen, I don't think the Ravens defense is as good as the Browns, but we should be able to contain Aaron Rodgers in this offense with no DK Metcalf, no Darnell Washington. Their offense is straightforward to defend. The Ravens give up 390 yards to a 40-some-year-old Aaron Rodgers who, yes, he absolutely balled. Threw for 294 yards, was 31 of 47 and tossed for a touchdown. Kenneth Gainwell, 8 catches for 64 yards. Like, how are we not taking away Kenneth Gainwell? There's no DK Metcalf. The Ravens defense sold this game, man. The Ravens defense choked. They played a really good first half. And the Kyle Hamilton injury, man, that was the big shift for me with the Ravens. On the defensive side of the ball, the Ravens defense played a really good first half, man. That stop at the end of the first half where Tomlin decided to go for it instead of taking the field goal on 4th down to close out the half to get the stop, that was massive. It was huge. But as soon as Kyle Hamilton went out of the game, I'm like, it just feels like our defense this is going to be different. And the Steelers controlled the time of possession. They had a very dominant second half when it came to the offensive side of the ball. They controlled the clock. They had these long drives, long wearing drives, didn't turn the football over. And Aaron Rodgers showed up. He made some big throws. So I don't want to take anything away from the Steelers in that aspect, but the bottom line is the Ravens defense, like Zach Orr has got to go. He has got to go, man. The fact that there was no DK Metcalf out there and you're playing defense like he is insane to me. The Steelers don't have anyone on the offensive side of the ball with DK out of the lineup that is scary whatsoever. The Ravens should have had a super disrespectful defensive approach, man. Stop sitting back and playing this blanket zone coverage, letting them complete easy passes underneath. Finding soft spots in the zone in the middle of the field, 15, 20 yards downfield. This defense was so soft in coverage in the second half, it was making me sick. It was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. And what has been the Achilles heel of the Ravens all year long? We have had no pass rush. None. And what are you going to do if you sit back in coverage and allow a veteran Aaron Rodgers who, yeah, maybe he's not as good as he once was. I mean, he looked pretty close to vintage Aaron Rodgers last night. But a lot of that was the Ravens were so relaxed in defense, allowing him to complete these passes and move up and down the field. They weren't protecting the middle of the field, which I don't understand. Force them to take those deep shots on the outside. There's no DK Metcalf, dog. What was the game plan defensively? And I understand that losing Kyle Hamilton, it's a massive hit. He's the Swiss Army knife of the defense, the jack of all trades. He's in the box. He's back in coverage. He's all over the place, man. So I completely understand how that shifts our defense. But the bottom line is we still got guys back there. We still got Malachi Starks. We still got Ardarius Washington. We got Gilman back there, man. We got Marlon Humphrey. Oh, man. Chidobe Awuzie, who literally, how do you blow the coverage, man? How do you blow the coverage? He bites on the double move by Calvin Austin, and you can't do it. He trips and falls, and Austin is wide open in the back of the end zone for an easy touchdown. Easy peasy. That should never happen in that kind of situation, man. Never. The defense sold this game. They absolutely did. And it's crazy to me that the Ravens were not playing Trenton Simpson throughout the year. And I know Teddy Buchanan, he's been really, really good up until the point where he got banged up. And I understand that. But Trenton Simpson made some crazy tackles out in space last night, man. Had 9 tackles, 6 solo. He was really, really good. Getting to the perimeter, stopping these guys on the outside. But the bottom line is I don't understand the defensive approach. It was way too relaxed in coverage, man. And allowing Kenneth Gainwell to get momentum up the field and catch these easy dink and dunk passes around the line of scrimmage was disgraceful. He was who the offense was going to go through. And with no DK Metcalf, they're going to lean on the tight end, Pat Freiermuth. They don't have anybody really threatening on the outside. And the Ravens gave up the middle of the field where you were going to probably get burned by the tight end Freiermuth. What was the game plan from Zachary Orr, man? And like I said, this defense played a very good first half. And obviously when Kyle Hamilton goes down, it's going to affect everything. I understand that. And it felt like just this devastating blow to where it took the air out of the confidence in the defense. But that's where we need our guys, Roquan Smith. We need these guys to step up, man. Kyle Van Noy, Mike Green, Travis Jones, where are you? And I know the Ravens were very good on short yardage, but in these crucial situations, man, when we had to have it, we didn't have it. And the defense played bad in the second half. That's the reality. The Steelers had these long punishing drives. They were draining. And then the Ravens offense was electric, man, especially in the fourth quarter. But really in the second half, when we started to catch fire and started to wake up, we were having these quick touchdown drives, right, where we'd hit a big play over the top to Zay Flowers and go score. And then bang, the defense has to go right back out there. So it was a great thing that we were scoring and the offense was alive and the passing game's firing on all cylinders. But then it was these quick turnarounds where the defense is right back out there and the Steelers are slowly driving, running the football, just kind of picking the zone apart, dinking and dunking, playing that kind of game. And it was wearing our defense down in the second half. But the fact that Zachary Orr and John Harbaugh and this team decided when it comes to calling the game not to basically, I don't want to say go out on your shield, but didn't decide to get up in the face of the Steelers offense and be like, you're going to have to make something crazy happen to beat us, man. We are not going to give you these free yards underneath, because that's what the Ravens defense were doing. It was way too soft of a defense in the second half with the coverage. It was way too soft. Like baby shit. Way too soft, man. So the bottom line is, to me, this is Tyler Loop obviously missing the field goal, choked in the biggest moment of his rookie career. And, you know, I don't really trust Tyler Loop. I didn't the whole year, right? I'm always skeptical of a rookie kicker, man, right? We had arguably the greatest kicker of all time in Justin Tucker, at least one of them, right? Didn't have the best season last year and all the stuff going on with him, so he's not around anymore. And, you know, we were spoiled having a guy like JT, man, where he was automatic tuck, right? And now we got a rookie kicker in there who, even in this game, they were saying in pregame warmups from 50 and beyond, it was a disaster. It was not good. It was a disaster. And then we get into this moment to where you got to have it. You got to make it, man. You just do. You just do. And he's been great all year long inside 50. And of course, in the biggest moment, it's wide right and we miss. But for him shanking kicks out of bounds on special teams, giving the Steelers the ball at the 40-yard line, and then when he went out there and him and Stout smiled before he kicked the field goal, when he went out there and they were smiling, I'm like, I don't know what, man, I got a bad vibe here. I got a bad vibe. I don't know why. And I was like starting to panic. I'm like, I got a bad vibe. Why are they smiling? What's so funny? And then John Harbaugh and the management there, man, we had 2 timeouts. Why don't we run the football or try to, complete a quick pass to get them a little bit closer? I get hindsight is 2020 and you never know, something bad could happen. I understand all of it, man. But that to me is the root of the disasters with John Harbaugh, is this conservative turtle mode approach that he has had in Baltimore for years to come. So we're going to get to Harbaugh in just a minute, but I want to talk about the offense because the defense to me choked. They did. They played a good first half, and the second half they were nowhere to be found. We had some plays here and there, but in the big moments when they had to step up, the pass rush was not getting home and the coverages were being blown on the back end, man. Chidobe Awuzie blowing that coverage, slipping and falling, biting on the underneath. That should never happen, man. It is all about not letting them get behind you in that kind of situation. They had no timeouts. No timeouts. Make them throw it underneath, come up, tackle, rally, work the clock. So like I said, our defense choked. But at the end of the day, the most damning thing about all of this is this was one of the best games that I've seen Lamar Jackson play, especially against the Steelers, but late in a ball game. This was one of the best games we've ever seen Lamar Jackson play. He was sensational, man. Threw for 238 yards, 11 of 18, 3 touchdowns, and did have that interception, but tried to get that pass out quick to the flat. It got tipped up in the air, batted around, and like Ravens and Steelers fashion, the Steelers just the luckiest of plays, the craziest of luck, bouncing around, rattling around, and TJ Watt ends up coming down with the football. That's how these games go, man. The Ravens had 359 total yards. That was the only turnover, which stuff happens. Batted ball, it is what it is. Can't fault Lamar for that. This had nothing to do with Lamar Jackson and the offense. They absolutely did enough to go out there and win this game, man. To put up 24 points against this Pittsburgh team, the Steelers' offense, man, without DK Metcalf was sorry, dude. They were. At least in my opinion, they were. And they didn't look like it last night, especially in the second half. They just caught fire, and that's the problem with playing this relaxed coverage. You allow a quarterback to get hot, they start to get into a rhythm, and then it's too late to get them out of the rhythm. The Ravens needed to be heating them up, man. And I know Rodgers is good against the blitz, getting the ball out of his hands, seeing where, you're coming from, replaces you by throwing to that area quickly. I understand all of that, but you can't just sit back and let Rodgers pick you apart. But the bottom line is enough about the defense. I'm so frustrated, man, because the Ravens offense was spectacular. Lamar was spectacular. He was clutch. It was vintage Lamar Jackson, which is what I anticipated in this game. He looked the healthiest he has basically since the beginning of the season. He was running around, moving around. I mean, he literally sacked in the backfield, getting sandwiched, and somehow gets out of it, launches a beautiful touch deep ball down the field to Zay Flowers for a massive touchdown. One of the greatest plays that we've seen all year. One of the greatest plays I've honestly ever seen from a quarterback. Any other quarterback that we've ever seen in the history of the league, that's a sack. And I love the short yardage, fake toss to Derrick Henry, throwing the football deep to Zay Flowers. That fooled me. That fooled everybody. I don't think anyone was expecting that. And that's the brilliance that we see at moments from the Ravens, man, that we just don't see enough. And that was a beautiful call, man. It was a beautiful call. Just like against the Browns a few weeks back when, Andrews went under center. Everyone's taking a tush push, turns around, fakes it, sneaks out the backside, long touchdown to seal the deal. We see this creativity in moments, man, and that was one of those. That was an amazing play call. And Zay Flowers went off. 4 catches, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a big play guy, man. And he made some big plays last night. And Derrick Henry, 126 yards on 20 carries. I wanted more touches for Derrick Henry, man. And a lot of those yards came in the first half, right? The Steelers, they have a stout defense, and especially in these divisional games when they're going to play the Ravens, we know how we match up. It's going to be tough yards to come from, or it's going to be hard to get tough yards. But Cam Hayward, he was a problem. He's always a problem. 7 tackles, 5 solo. He was the ultimate disruptor on the interior, right? That defensive line that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been drafting, a lot of guys on the interior of that D-line have paid off in this game, man. With Harmon, Benton, right? I mean, Highsmith and getting Watt back. I mean, Alex Highsmith has been one of the most underrated and not talked about enough players this entire season. He is the ultimate disruptor. And in my opinion, he's been better than TJ Watt this season. And then they had TJ Watt back, so obviously you have that. And then Pat Queen, the former Raven at linebacker, Herbig. I mean, Kyle Duggar coming down into the box, Jalen Ramsey. This is a solid defense, man, but they've shown that they give up explosive plays in the run, and we saw that in the first half. But they tightened things up in the second half and said, no. You're not beating us with the run game and Derrick Henry. We're going to make Lamar Jackson and your passing game win us the game, or win you the game. And Lamar Jackson and the offense did that. They did it. The Ravens were dared by the Pittsburgh Steelers defense to drop back with Lamar Jackson and win this game through the air, and the Ravens did enough. They did it, and our defense could not hold up, and we missed a kick. That's what this comes down to, man. This has nothing to do with the Ravens offense. And sure, you could say Derrick Henry should have been on the field more, especially, late in the ball game and in the second half. And yeah, I would have liked to have seen that. I would have liked to have seen some more touches. But it was very clear to me that the Steelers made the decision coming out in the second half. We're going to control the ball on offense, drain the clock, wear their defense down, and then we are going to do everything in our power to take away Derrick Henry and the Ravens' run game and force Lamar to beat us with his arm, and Lamar did it. He did it. He played spectacular in this game, man. He played spectacular. Both quarterbacks did. Aaron Rodgers was amazing as well. But Lamar Jackson was special, dude. The plays that he made were special. And we finished the year 8-9, a year where Lamar was banged up quite a bit. Huntley stepped in. Those games where Cooper Rush was playing, Cooper Rush should have never have touched the field this year. If we had Snoop Huntley, we probably win those games that Cooper Rush was playing in, at least one of them, at least some of them, whatever. Like I said, the Ravens should have never have been in this situation, man. We should have been clinched a playoff spot coming into this game. But it is what it is. You mess around, you play around. This is the kind of stuff that happens. And then when people say, oh, Luke missed the kick, but it's not really him and the defense's fault because there's all these moments throughout the game. The way playoff football works and the way that football works is, especially late in the season, December, January, February for the Super Bowl, whatever. When you get late in these games, these crucial gotta-have-it moments, they're everything. It matters what you've done throughout the game up until that point, of course, but at the same time, it doesn't. Because when you put yourself in position to go out there and make it happen, the defense is out there. They have no timeouts. Keep everything in front of you. Rally and tackle. against an offense with no DK Metcalf, an offense that's not scary. Take away Gainwell and Freiermuth. You should be able to do that, and you couldn't do that, and you let Calvin Austin get loose and score a touchdown. It's just devastating, man. On a vintage Lamar, clutch Ravens offense, Isaiah Likely with one of the greatest catches of the year, man. 4th and 7, season on the line. Lamar drops back, TJ Watt falling into his lap, and Lamar lofts a beautiful ball over the top that Isaiah Likely climbs the ladder and makes one of the best catches we've seen all year, man. And Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, they should have been involved in this game a lot more than what they were. And Todd Monken was too predictable on first down. Give it to Henry. We obviously want to feed the beast, but go hard play action. We did like once or twice. We got some big chunks in the passing game that way. Mix it up. Keep the defense on their heels. Right, and not having Rashad Bateman, he's just been a massive letdown for the Ravens, man. He just has. I couldn't believe that they extended him, and gave him a deal, a contract to keep him around for a few more years. I couldn't believe it. Walker's a guy that we're going to want to use moving forward in the receiving core. He's got good speed, bursted open, great first, drive touchdown for the Ravens. It was explosive, man. Beat the man coverage. I love the aggressiveness to go for it. But the bottom line is this has nothing to do with the Ravens offense. The Steelers defense showed up. They did a good job in the trenches, but at the end of the day, they were blowing some things as well on the defensive side of the ball for the Steelers. But the bottom line is that was Lamar, being special. Making all these plays, man. And the fact that the Ravens choked and coughed up a vintage Lamar clutch performance. It was like the story was on the wall. I'm like, the Steelers are going to win this game. But wait a minute, we got some time. Lamar's going to get the ball back. We're under a minute here. We got all of our timeouts. Great return by Keaton Mitchell. Gets us into a good position. I'm like, here we go. Go to work, Lamar. Completes a couple throws. That throw to Likely, I'm like, we're going to win the game. We're in field goal range. And yes, the Ravens should have tried to run another play. At least give it to Derrick Henry. Throw a quick pass to the flat. Get it to Likely. Get it to Andrews. Get 5 to 10 more yards if you can. Make the field goal a little bit closer. This was just such a devastating loss, man. It was such a devastating loss. It was a vintage Lamar Jackson performance. The offense was playing really, really well. They woke up late in the ballgame, and they absolutely delivered. Explosive plays, things that we had been waiting to see from this offense. We got Lamar back in the lineup. Derrick Henry, over 100 yards. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough because our defense could not hold their ground in the second half. We missed a field goal. And that leads us to the big point of people are going to say, well, this is Lamar. This has nothing to do with Lamar. Lamar did absolutely everything in his power to win this game. He won this game for the Ravens. The defense and the kicker lost the Ravens this game, as well as some coaching as well. But that's been a common theme. So let's end this video by talking about where we go from here, potential coaches that I could see the Ravens looking at. Because the bottom line is this, man. I don't have any ill will towards John Harbaugh. I think John Harbaugh is a really good coach. Seems like a great guy. I don't know him, obviously, but, just from the way you hear players talk about him, the way you hear other coaches and everybody talk about Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens have basically only known 2 coaches, man. Brian Billick and John Harbaugh. So it's a weird territory to be like, no Harbs around? 18 years with the Ravens, Billick all those years. Billick won the 2000 Super Bowl, the greatest defense of all time, that Ravens team. John Harbaugh in 2012 with Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Joe Flacco. But I believe that the time has come for the Ravens to move on from John Harbaugh. And it hurts to say in a way because, I've been so mad at John Harbaugh for the past few years, man. I really, really have. And I feel like this is a move that's been long overdue. And I made a video talking about just the way that people come after Lamar Jackson, and it's just so unfair. It's not Lamar's fault, man. This is a generational talent, but the reality is John Harbaugh and this staff have been getting in the way for far too long, and they've been wasting Lamar's career in his prime and these opportunities that we've had for Lamar Jackson to get to a Super Bowl. And the biggest trap, people are always afraid of change, right? They're afraid of, well, what do we do? We've known Harbaugh for so long. What do we do without Harbaugh? And the fear of the unknown. The greatest fear that I have as a Ravens fan or someone that cares about the Ravens is Lamar Jackson never getting to a Super Bowl and never winning a Super Bowl. That is the greatest fear that I have, not moving on from a coach like John Harbaugh. That doesn't scare me. There's plenty of good coaches in the National Football League, and I understand that he's won a Super Bowl. I understand that. But we see the amount of young coaches that come in and fill these roles, and they end up doing a fantastic job. And I feel like that leaves the Ravens to the point where you have to move on from Harbaugh, and I think they should get rid of everybody. I think they should get rid of Harbaugh, Todd Monken, Zach Orr. Zach Orr should have never been the D coordinator. They should get rid of probably Eric DaCosta as well. Obviously, Ozzie Newsome, the OG, the legend. Newsome, pioneer of this thing, work with Steve Bisciotti, figure out what we're going to do in terms of, a coach and all these different things. But I think it's time for the Ravens to put on a new fresh coat of paint, man. I really feel that way. It's time for some new eyes in the building. It's time for some new opinions. Because clearly with the Ravens, it just feels like this stale buddy-buddy kind of system, which is great and it's comfortable and it's fun, but it's comfortable. It's time for the Ravens to get uncomfortable and make the moves that are going to be necessary for this team to get where they need to go and where they should be. And people say to me all the time, oh, well, you just think that the Bills and the Ravens and the Bengals and the Chiefs, that they're just entitled to be in Super Bowls because of their quarterbacks. The expectation when you have star quarterbacks like that is that you're going to be contending for a Super Bowl and championships. That's the bottom line. Every year we're going to be talking about Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar. These guys have competing for Super Bowls because of how special and talented they are. And that should be the expectation. And the Ravens, yes, they've made it to an AFC championship game a couple years ago with Harbaugh against the Chiefs at home. And we lose. Just feels like in these big moments, man, the Ravens fine. It's not like we're getting blown out in these crucial games and in the postseason and these things. It's these crucial, gotta have it moments where just what can go wrong will go wrong for the Ravens. Some of the coaches that I'm looking at, Brian Flores. Everywhere this guy goes, the defenses just instantly are better. Brian Flores, to me, I think would really click with the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, they need to get back to being known for being a physical, scary defense. We haven't had that in a while, man. We got some great personnel. We got some great players on the defense, but we need a guy that comes in and can mold this defense, add the pieces that we needed in the draft through free agency, and really bring back that attitude that the Baltimore Ravens have been missing for a while now. And the defense has played really good in spots. And I understand that losing Matabike, at the beginning of the year, that's going to destroy, the defensive line. I understand all those things. But the bottom line is this has been a reoccurring theme, man. And I'd say one of the greatest screw-ups, if not the greatest, in the history of the Ravens franchise was letting Mike Macdonald walk out of the building. I wouldn't have cared if they moved Harbaugh to a front office role. If it's like, we just want Harbaugh around, we like him, whatever, move him to a front office role. Mike Macdonald does not leave the building. Look what he's doing in Seattle. He would have been our head coach for years to come and could have been our defensive mind man. But now we're in this situation. I'm looking at Brian Flores, Robert Saleh, some of the better D coordinators in the league. Guys that can bring that attitude and edge back to our defense. Chris Shula, Jesse Minter, some defensive minds. The offensive side of the ball, right? I mean, Clint Kubiak has been doing a great job. Cliff Kingsbury, I know, is a name out there as well. I'm not saying that these are the guys that are going to get the job or should get. I'm just throwing some names out there, man. If I had it my way, the way that I'm looking at it, I think we need to go with a big, no-nonsense personality coach with a defensive mind. And then we need to have Lamar Jackson basically pick who he wants to be the offensive coordinator. That's how I feel, man. That's how I feel. The Ravens as well in the draft. Like, people haven't been critical enough about the Ravens and the way that they've been drafting. They've been taking a lot of defensive players right in the secondary. And I mean, we've gotten guys like Kyle Hamilton, Malachi Starks. We've had some good draft picks. We've also missed on a lot of draft picks as well. And if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm sitting back and, because of the cap hit and, they're going to want to extend him and all those kinds of things. I'm basically saying you better fix this offensive line because the offensive line in pass pro has been bad all year. They were horrible last night, man. Absolutely horrible. And because Lamar is that special, he's been able to make do with a very rough offensive line. A very rough offensive line, man. Very, very rough O-line. So if I'm Lamar Jackson, I've been saying for a while, I think that no matter what they say to the media and what you're hearing, reports coming out of Baltimore, it to me seems like this relationship is a little bit kind of going this way with Lamar and Harbaugh like it's been for a while. It just feels that way, man. I feel like there's been a lot of smoke and mirrors going on. We don't exactly know what's going on. A lot of it's been speculation as well as just my opinion overall. I think it's time to move on from Harbaugh. I think Lamar is ready to do that. I like a big personality guy that's going to come in and get this defense right. Bring the physicality of the Ravens back. Make us a scary defense. Make us a scary defense again. Work with these pieces that we have. Get some help at the receiver position. Get Lamar a true number one guy, man. Don't be afraid to bring in some explosive playmakers for the offense. Stop limiting our offense, man. Get Lamar some help. beef up the offensive line. And the number one thing on defense, in my opinion, is the pass rush. We got to address the pass rusher spot, man. Whether that's trading for Max Crosby, he might be on the market, and if he is, the Ravens need to make a move. They need to make a move, man. Because in games like this, when you have a guy like a Crosby, a Myles Garrett, a TJ Watt, and Alex Highsmith, these are where they shine and can help win you games. But at the end of the day, if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm saying we're not discussing anything in the future until we figure out what we're doing at coach. I want some say in that. I want to know who's going to be calling plays. I want a ton of say in that. And you better get me a better offensive line, and that better be priority at the top of the priority list this offseason, man. And I think if the Ravens do that, they could be right back in the mix, man. And I want to see a creative offensive line. I want to see what Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay and these fancy offenses, Ben Johnson, this creativity. Can you imagine those things with Lamar Jackson's skill set? I still feel like we're not. Lamar Jackson is an MVP caliber player. We all know that. 2-time MVP, could have been, should have been 3-time. But he's at the point where I would like to see his skill set unlocked even further, which is so terrifying to think about. Creative play calling, more creative play design, not being so vanilla and bland. We have not been able to trust this Ravens staff for a long time, man, and it's time for change. It's just time. It's been stale. It's been the same thing over and over and over again. Blown leads, blunder after blunder, slip up after slip up. My question to you is, when is enough enough? Enough is enough, man. It just is. And I understand that, if the kick makes it, maybe we're having a different conversation. I'm not. Even if the Ravens go out there and handle business this postseason, which it would still be tough given the defense and the guy, no pass rush and all that kind of stuff. It just feels like it's time, man, for some new opinions, some new eyes on some things, some change. Maybe it'll serve Harbaugh well. New scenery. I think he's still a good coach, but at the end of the day, for what the Ravens are trying to accomplish, I think it's time for some change. It just seems like the voice is very hollow in the locker room. And I know the players love him and all that kind of stuff, but I think it's time. I think it's time. So those are my thoughts. Can't believe it's over, man. I really thought, there were many shifts throughout the game where I'm like, we're going to lose, we're going to win, we're going to lose. But when we had that drive and Lamar completed that 4th and 7 ball to Isaiah Likely, I'm like, we just won this game. And then Luke goes out there and misses the field goal. And he's a rookie. When you put a rookie kicker in that kind of position, the chances of something going bad are very likely, man. They are. So at the end of the day, obviously got to make the field goal. That's your job as a kicker, to make the field goal. It's just very tough, man. Very, very, very tough. Got to feel for the kicker as well, Tyler Loop. Like, at the end of the day, you got to make the field goal. I don't feel bad for him in that sense. You got to make the field goal. That's your job. But at the end of the day, missing it and everyone coming after him like the way that they are and threatening him, that stuff is ridiculous, man. It's crazy. It's a football game. And if you do that, you're messed up. And that's completely wrong. But these are my thoughts, man. These are my thoughts. Shouldn't have came down to this game. The bottom line is it did. The Steelers did what they had to do to win. The Ravens defense were not good enough in the second half. The offense, when they woke up, they were on fire. The passing game was on fire. Lamar Jackson played a vintage game. It was more than enough for us to win. Luke missing the field goal. All disappointing, man. The Ravens, it's these movie-like endings that are just absolutely heartbreaking time and time again. It's time. It's time to move on from Harbaugh. It's time for something new, man. Defensive mind at the head coaching position. Bring back that attitude. Bring in a real offensive guru that's creative, that Lamar likes, that we could really get this thing going, fix the offensive line, get some pass rushers up in here. And I think the Ravens will be just fine in 2026. But if you guys enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Please give it a like. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I know I rambled on, but just trying to give you my raw reaction, man. Very disappointed, very upsetting. Love my Ravens, Flock Nation for life, man, but it's just tough. It's tough, man. Very, very tough. I really thought we were going to win this game. But if you enjoy my content, if you could also subscribe, helps me out tremendously. I appreciate it. See you next time.